Hey there, entrepreneurs. My name is Sushant, and welcome to TrepTalks. This is a show where I interview successful e-commerce entrepreneurs, business executives, and thought leaders, and ask them questions about their business story and dive deep into some of the strategies and tactics that they have used to start and grow their businesses. And today I'm really excited to welcome Ambrose Price to the show. Ambrose is the founder of SKNMUSE. SKNMUSE is a premium skincare brand for the soul's vessel. And today I'm going to ask Ambrose a few questions about his entrepreneurial journey and some of the strategies and tactics that he has used to start and grow his business. Now, before we dive into this interview, if you enjoy this content, please make sure to hit the like and subscribe button. And for more interviews like this, please visit treptalks.com. And with that, Ambrose, welcome and thank you so much again for joining me today at Trep Talks. Really, really appreciate your
Thank you.
time.
Thank you. I appreciate that that introduction, man. It gives me a lot of energy. I would say though, just a slight correction. I am the co-founder of SkinMuse. So there's another very important person, Esne Price now, who is also there and really founded this business.
Awesome. Well, so that's a good starting point. Maybe you can share a little bit about, how did this business come about and how did you kind of get involved with the business?
Okay, so well, the business started out with my wife back in mid to early 2019. She was traveling a lot for business and work, and when she, was going through airports and such, a lot of her homemade remedies, she was making these remedies at home, to care for her body and her skin. They were getting taken away at TSA, and it was becoming really frustrating for her to be able to find these type of materials and these ingredients really to uh, at your typical store. And she was wondering why she was going to all these luxury, stores and department stores and not really able to find those products. And so what she decided to do was, start a company that was really making those products. She's from Nigeria. So, a lot of these ingredients are native to where she comes from. So after she had started the company, I was on pretty early as the creative director. So I was helping with the packaging and the overall look and voice of the company. Um, and over the years, as they progressed, I moved into different roles. So again, starting at creative direction and then moving into operations, moving into production. And then just last year, I took over as the acting CEO of this company. And that's how I kind of ended up at this point in my journey.
No, that sounds great. I mean, you mentioned that you're using a specific kind of ingredients or specific kinds of ingredients in this. Can you talk a little bit about your product line and like what's different about it? Is it the ingredients that make it different? And yeah, and what's kind of the value prop? Like what's different about your products?
Understood. Yes. So, so our product is a natural product. I think that that's number one. It's made in small batch by artisans, and we're including ingredients like shea butter, cocoa butter, coconut oil, avocado oil, rosehip, argan, those type of things. All these ingredients are really powerhouses packed with vitamins, which are all really good to keep your skin healthy and supple and keep the elasticity. And as we grow older, we all want to continue looking, in a certain way and keeping our health as the number one. And so this product, as simple as the ingredients are, will really help you do that. So what we're really pushing is for people to use this product, to give themselves a moment of rest and ease in their day. So we figure, after you get out the shower, you probably have 15 minutes to 30 minutes where you can really be applying these things, these products to your body to really spend some time with yourself and take care of yourself. We all deserve a little bit of rest.
Yeah, for sure. And I see on your website, like you have different products. You have a body butter, you have body oil and fragrances, nail care, silk scarves. How many products do you have right now? And like, is there a hero product that's your kind of like the most best-selling product?
Yeah, so we have roughly 15 products right now. We have a lot of scents in our body butter. The body butter was really our number one for a good minute. People really enjoyed the scents that we came out with. We were developing, they were a bit different than the typical body butter scents, I would say. So we were incorporating peppermint, and using peppermint essential oil in our product, and reaping those benefits as well. We came up with our best seller of the body butters, which is Egyptian honey. It's a scent that has oud in it. It's woody, it's sweet, it's powdery. So people really love that scent. Again, after the shower, using 15 to 30 minutes spending that time with each other or with themselves. But I would say our number one product, the hero product, is going to be our body oil. So that is also of the same scent. People love that body oil, and it's been our leading seller for the past 3 years, I'd say. So much so that we did come up with a few new scents of the body butter, and so what we decided to do was try out one of those in our body oil mixture as well. So that one was a limited edition situation from last year. Our clientele really enjoyed it. Outside of those, the two major ones, body butters and body oils, we do have some nail care. So you saw that with the cuticle oil. It got ranked top 10 by Elle magazine. And we also incorporated some silk scarves. Again, we want our brand to really focus around rest. So as you're, closing out your day, wrapping up your day, you might want to tie your hair up. You might want to, apply some of that cuticle oil to your nails. You're wiping the oils or the butters of your body, and you're really taking that time with yourself. So all of these components, oh, and I almost forgot our golden scoop. It's actually one of our sneaky good products. So it's basically a small golden spoon, and this allows our clientele who, at least our clientele are women, typically wear, long nails. And so with that, we wanted to provide them with a tool so they wouldn't have to use those nails to, dig into that body butter. They could use our scoop instead so they can keep their manicures fresh.
That sounds great. I'm curious. So your wife started it in 2019. At that time, was it, it seems like she was using it for her own purpose. At what point or what kind of motivated her to convert the products that she was using at home to build a business out of it? Like, were other people asking about it, or she kind of, just tried selling it to some people? How did the business come about?
Yeah. So I would say with her, I think at first it was a little bit of frustration when it came to, taking that homemade product through TSA. And then I think it really came to the point where she realized that this product was something that people enjoyed. It was things that she would share with her inner circle of friends at first. And again, they were enjoying it. So at that point, with the frustration of not being able to, you know, take it around with her while she was traveling, and then also not being able to find it in some of these nicer department stores, she was wondering, where is this? Why isn't it here? And I think that that's really what sparked the interest to put this type of product out on the market. A really high quality premium whipped body butter was really the catalyst for the beginning of this business.
Did she invest some of her own money? Was it like bootstrapped? What kind of investment go into this business? And since then, like in terms of scaling, like have you put additional money to really scale the business?
Yeah, of course. At the beginning, super bootstrapped. It was started with, I believe she said it was like $300. So, this business was started from almost nothing. And I think what really made the business grow in an exponential way was the partnering of her skills and her abilities with my skills and my abilities. She was very strategy oriented. She could see how the puzzle was going to fit together before I could even see the pieces. And I think that was really, and still is, her superpower. And so where I came in was, how do we tell a story around this thing? How do we wrap it in a product that speaks to the individuals who are looking for this type of product? And what I think really transpired from us coming together to work on it was when I remember a story from the first time that we took the product to, let's call it market. We signed up for it was almost like a craft fair almost, and it was at a church auditorium. And I remember we had stayed up for all night. We were getting the product ready. We had the packaging come in. Everything was really tight in this window that we had to, put this together. I was printing out labels from a label sticker sheet that you could put in your regular printer at your house, and I was cutting them out with an X-Acto knife. We stayed up all night, and I just remember I didn't have any more energy to even go to the show. So thankfully, one of her really good friends, Tamara, she ended up coming out and picking her up, and they went. And what really told me that this business was going to be successful, because this wasn't my first entrepreneurial venture, was after she came back. And I mean, we had let's call it 2 crates worth of product that we had put together. She came back with less than one. So I said,
Mm.
oh, wow. She said, out of all the tables that were there, our table had a line. People were waiting to come and purchase this product. So to me, that's when I really knew that not only her idea was sound, but also the way that we were going about presenting this premium product. Although these ingredients like shea butter and cocoa butter are in a lot of things, they are luxurious, they are premium ingredients, and that's why we felt the need to make sure that we presented them in a way that reflected what they truly are.
And that is so interesting, right? Like if anybody is starting a new business, it's much easier to have a small batch of products and try to go somewhere in person, put a
Yeah,
table and try to sell it. I mean, because
yeah,
that's really the gives you an indication of, what you're doing. Does this really have like a business potential for it? So
immediately.
I think
Yeah,
that's a very important thing. Before, like, you spend thousands of dollars building your website and all these things.
yeah,
I think it's
yeah.
always good to kind of
I think
check
we
the
had a
market.
landing page, perhaps, when we went to that fair. I mean, it was very bare bones. I mean, we might have had the website, but just barely. And like you said, I think this is really a good litmus test of if this is a viable, product for you. So we went to some place where we knew that our clients were going to be. So I think that that's important too. Don't just go to any old thing. Make sure that your clients or your potential clients are going to be there. But yeah, I mean, there's no better test to see how people are really going to react to it unless you're there. So I agree with that.
Since then, have you invested any additional money in the business? I mean, in terms of manufacturing, are you still manufacturing at home? Have you kind of built a facility, or are you outsourcing manufacturing? And was there any additional investment that you had to do in order to do
Yeah.
that?
So yes, there were additional investments. Our largest, I mean, I will say that Esme is such a great uh, grant writer. So she was able to, win a number of grants pretty early on. And we also got included into A16Z's uh, Talent Times Opportunity Program, which allowed us to go through something of a short residency, where they were teaching us everything from top to bottom, from supply chain to marketing to, investment to fundraising. So that was a nice 100K investment in the company. And again, grants, personal investments, but nothing huge, let's say. We aren't venture backed or anything like that at this moment. But again, we're able to keep things moving along and progressing. And could you remind me the second part of that question?
The manufacturing part, are you
Oh, yes.
where are you creating the product now? Is it like still more of a homemade facility, or do you have like a supplier manufacturer who's supplying
Yeah.
it?
So currently we are, well, when we started, obviously we were in the kitchen. So, a lot of good memories, developing and working on this product from our kitchen. But we have since then moved into a manufacturing plant. So we have one out here in Chatsworth, California. So we
Mm.
produce and manufacture right out of that facility. We still own the entire supply chain for this product. And we source materials from all over the world. So some of our product comes from West Africa directly, like the shea butter and the cocoa butter. But we also get things from Ghana and Dubai. So these are just different places that we source materials from. But as far as manufacturing goes, yeah, we really keep everything. And at least we've been doing our best to keep everything in house. So eventually, you'll get to a size where either your facilities might have to get bigger, or you might have to find somebody that can produce it at the rate that you need it. But at least for now, yeah, we still are very hands-on to make sure because, like I said at the beginning, this is a it's an artisanal product. It's not something that's made in massive batches. Everything is small batch, very controlled, very monitored to make sure that we're giving and presenting the highest quality product that we possibly can.
This is such an interesting market, right? Like it's female beauty or skincare, because
Hmm.
there's so many products out there, so many brands. I mean, the product line, some products are really expensive, others are, there's different kind of value proposition, anything from
Hmm.
natural skincare to, getting rid of wrinkles and, aging and all these things. What have you I mean, of course, there's a big market for it, and your customer has to buy into the value proposition. What have you learned about this market, and what do women care about in their skincare?
That's a great question. Well, for me, this market is very, very new. So I went to fashion school, art school, in university. So I was very inept in sewing, leather manufacturing. That was really my lane. And I also just have been a lifetime artist. So both of these things kind of went hand in hand. So when I met her and she discussed how she was thinking about potentially starting a beauty business, I was kind of out of my league there. So I really leaned on her. She had a lot of experience, a lot of working experience in the beauty industry. So that made things very easy. But what I can say from a person who's taking a little time to get up into this to get up to date, let's say, in this industry, it's an interesting one. I think it's a lot of fun, but I also think on the flip side of that coin that there are a lot of misconceptions about the products that are being put out. I think that sometimes, especially larger businesses, they got to find a way to make profit on some of these products. And again, they're not using the best materials. They're
Hmm.
putting potentially hazardous materials. There, I saw a I saw an infographic the other day that said basically 60 to 70% of all skincare that is targeting Black or African American women have at least one hazardous material in their product. And to me, that's alarming. This is something that you're putting on your skin, in your hair. These are products that you're using to take care of your body, not to destroy it. So that has always been that has always been the main thing with our product is really keeping this as close to and as right next to natural that we can possibly keep it.
I mean, it seems like in the business you are more on the marketing side of things. You said your wife is more of strategy, you're more on the storytelling and marketing.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
that's my lane.
Okay. How
Mm.
how have you what has the growth trajectory been like? What has worked in terms of um, getting the word out there, new customer acquisition, telling your story to the customer?
Yeah,
Um, how have you grown the business?
yeah. So I would say that I'd say blessed a few times. I Within the first 6 months of after we launched the business in 2020 officially, we were selected from a, a bunch of companies to be included on Beyonce's official website under her Black Parade. So that was basically um, the opportunity for us to be presented on the Superstars website.
Hmm.
And when I tell you we got massive traffic that came directly from that just right out the gate. So
Hmm.
that was something that we were really blessed with at the beginning.
Is this
But
is this
after
during
that,
the COVID time?
yeah,
Because
yeah,
I
this was
remember
cool.
at that time, like there was something happened that where there was a big promotion of black brands and things like this.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that had to do with the unfortunate passing of George Floyd. And so that is what sparked that movement at the beginning, and especially all the support that we were getting as a Black-owned and female-owned business. That's really what kicked it off in 2020. So again, once we got included on that website, that really took our business into from something that was very small, very, very small, to something that almost overnight kind of propelled us into a new plateau. But from then and there on, we again have just been really blessed. We've been working very hard to tell the story, and it's been recognized by a few different large publications like People Magazine. We were lucky enough to be on Good Morning America. We had a small segment there. Um, Again, our other founder, Esne, she has been phenomenal when it comes to um, applying to not just grants, but also programs. For instance, she was in a large, it was almost a pitch competition called Barn Burner from Sweater VC. So we got to go out to Colorado specifically, and she got some great camera time up there too. So I think it's just really been a combination of a lot of things. But one important fact that I do want to say is we have a teammate that came on, I'd say in 2021, I believe, and he really helped take our business into a place where it was getting more nationally recognized. So his name is Chaz Pringle with Chaz Pringle Consulting. He was really able to put our product in front of the right folks, the people that would be interested, the people that wanted to hear a story. And from that, again, we were able to even birth relationships with companies like American Express. So it was really a little bit of blessing, a little bit of luck, and a little bit of divine timing that got us to a place where we could say, at least in our LA area, we're well known.
It seems like a lot of these efforts or successes came from like partnerships
Mhm.
from different brands or celebrities and so forth. Are you also doing any kind of like SEO marketing on your website? Are you doing paid advertising? Are you doing content marketing? Are you doing any sort of like um, digital marketing efforts
Mhm. Yeah,
to get new customers?
yeah. So when it comes to our marketing, we do lean pretty heavily onto partnerships. We feel that for us, word of mouth is a lot stronger of a statement than something that you might see, as you're scrolling. So we've been relying a lot on those connections that we've made. And we have had time frames where we are digitally marketing, whether it's on Pinterest specifically or Instagram. We've also thrown some ads up elsewhere, but traditionally, and what I say for the most part, we've really been relying on using systems that are already in play to get the word out. And then when we can, we like to do pop-ups. So we like to be in person at least 2 or 3 times a quarter. So you can find us or see us, here locally. We can be popping up at a store that you might frequent. I know we've had a partnership with Nordstrom here at the Grove for the last 2 years.
Hmm.
So that's been great. During Black Business Month, we've been able to partner with them. We've been able to show up in their space. And again, after the first year, we came back for the second year. People said, "Oh my gosh, I remember you guys from last year." This is just our ability to share the brand and to really, um, almost be infectious to the people that try us out and that want to look into the story.
Very interesting. Are you selling through any of these marketplaces like Amazon or any of the other marketplaces, or is it completely your website and then all the in-person pop-up things that you're doing?
Yeah, so primarily it's our website, but we do also sell on Macy's.com. We sell
Okay.
on 13moon.com, and we are looking into to Amazon as something that we're potentially going to be getting into later this year. So that is something that's we've been tossing around to entertain because
Okay.
we know, I mean, it's a huge marketplace. So one, you want to make
Yeah.
sure you're prepared to go on to Amazon.com. You don't want to be, you know, underprepared and all of a sudden you're swamped or you're not being able to fill orders properly. So we want to make sure that we take the right steps so we have success. But yeah, we're looking to get into some new marketplaces as well,
Okay, that
especially
makes sense.
online.
Um, no, I think that makes a lot of sense. I mean, Amazon, I think they definitely take away a big chunk of your margins, but yeah, I mean, they have the traffic. They're very big.
Yeah, exactly.
What is your shipping fulfillment strategy? Are you shipping on your own? Or are you working with like a third party logistics provider? How does that
Yeah.
work?
So we're still shipping on our own. So out of the production manufacturing warehouse, we also have our shipping, so shipping and fulfillment. So whether it's wholesale orders or personal orders, they're all coming out of the same roof. So that's nice. It keeps everything, in one place. We don't have to worry about transporting from one to the other. But again, eventually, you're going to get to a point where 3PL might be an option. You're just wanting and needing some help, managing all those orders that are coming in and orders, and the unfortunate returns, that are coming in, you're going to need some help with that kind of thing. So for now, we're still under one roof, but in the future, we'll see how that goes. It might not be an option anymore.
I mean, returns is a good question, right? Like e-commerce, there's always returns.
Yeah.
How do you deal with it? Do you offer free returns? Like, what's your policy? And um, do you try to learn from like, is it mostly people? I mean, with e-commerce, people tr want to try things out, right? Like
Yeah.
before they buy.
Mhm. Yeah.
What can you talk a little bit about your returns and what's usually happening? Are you learning anything from it?
Sure. I mean, what I will say is that we started off with a really good product. Now, that doesn't mean that 100% of the people are going to like it, enjoy it, love it, etc. But I would say that the product is already a really nice product. So what we do on our website and through our, socials, whether it's Pinterest or Instagram or TikTok, whatever, we try to let people know what they're getting into before they buy. So we try to get texture, we try to get and describe sense as best we can. Um, in order to try to avoid any confusion when it comes to, what they will be getting when it arrives. But, there's always going to be somebody that just doesn't like the product. And, we do accept returns. But I will say that we very seldomly have a lot of returns because people dislike the product. We
Hmm.
get more issues when it comes to shipping, honestly. Sometimes, things we want to be sustainable and we aim to be sustainable as possible. So all of our products are in glass. So as glass goes, sometimes, they break. And sometimes, when they get jostled in the shipping, sometimes things break. So I'd say we do more replacements than returns because our returns are just so low. So we're thankful for that. I mean, we're thinking that at least, our customers already kind of knows what they're getting into when they come to our site. And, we do look forward to potentially doing some more discovery type packs or sets in the future so people who have no experience with it can sample more or less, all of our products before they, commit to something a little bit larger. Because I wouldn't say we're the most expensive thing on the market when it comes to this type of product, but I wouldn't say we're the least expensive either. So it's a small investment for your health and your overall skin health. But yeah, we look forward to potentially doing some discovery so we don't run into those type of returns with new clients and new customers.
For sure. I mean, that makes me think, what is your competitive landscape like? Because I know that there are other beauty brands or even smaller beauty brands that kind of focus on this shea butter and, natural products space. Um, is it really about telling your story more effectively and, having people gravitate towards your products versus others, or is your product fundamentally different from, what other brands are creating? Is it really just about storytelling, how effectively you're telling your story so that people resonate with it and buy your products?
Yeah. Honestly, I think it's a little bit of both. I think that yes, you of course need a good story for anything you're trying to sell. You can put something on the internet and it'll just sit there for years. So being able to tell a a story that people can relate to is very important. But I would also say that the product is fundamentally different from, other products that are, in this market. So not just the presentation, but in what's inside the jar is something that's different. And again, taking a very strong stance towards being natural and being organic is something that a lot of businesses have difficulty competing with. So again, artisanal, small batch, these things take a little bit more time, but we feel that time is well spent being able to come up with a product like this.
In terms of your team, of course, your two co-founders, you mentioned a consultant who's helping you with some partnerships and things like this. Um, is there anyone else in your team, or is this is really your team right now?
That's the main team right now. We do also have another teammate. She lives in New York. Her name is Cara. So Cara helps us out with social media, email correspondence, as well as some email marketing. So things that she can obviously do remote since the rest of the team is here in LA. Um, but yeah, we've had other people, whether they're consulting or they could potentially be on the production side of things. So we do have a few people that come in and out, but when I talk about like the core team that's driving the business right now, it's the three of us: myself, Ezine, and Chaz Perman.
So to me, it seems like, sorry, I completely skipped what I was going to ask.
No worries about it.
So let me ask you another question here. What is your future vision of the business? Are you working to add more products in your product line? Are you just thinking about going out in the market and having, acquiring more customers? How do you think about your business evolving in, let's say, in the next 5 years or
Yeah.
so?
So right now, I'd say we're in a growth phase. So what we're what I'm aiming to do currently is to really take some time and really nail down what we do well already. So if we have something that's selling and we have customers visiting the site, I think that's already the secret sauce. So if you've already got traffic, I think you've solved a big part of the business problem. So um, right now I'm working on conversion. So we want to make sure that, if we're emailing you, if you're visiting our website, that you're able to find something easily and, convert at the end of your journey. So I'd say that for us is a big point of emphasis for 2025. But I mean, I love new products. I think products are great. So it gives me an opportunity to be creative with the packaging and to tell the story around something new, to be able to work on the development of something new. These are things that I really enjoy personally. So whenever we get the opportunity to make new product, I'm the first one in line. What I would say though is currently we have one new product that is in the works, potentially to launch in a few months. So
Mm.
we're keeping the lid on that one yet. We haven't quite um, got all the details about it nailed down yet, but that is something that we're looking to do. But again, product development takes money. So, being smart with your spend is also something that we have to keep in mind. We're a small company and we are an even smaller team. So I think what we learned back in 2023, which was a particularly difficult year for us, or sorry, 2023. I think I said 2030, 2023. Um, it was a particularly difficult year for us. And I think what we learned there was, our what we have to keep the main thing the main thing.
Mm.
Um, Focus on the product, focus on the clientele, focus on building that relationship with them, and also cutting off any extra fat that you have. So whether you need to shrink, we moved to a smaller facility in uh, what was it, early 2024. So
Mm.
after that rough year, we decided, hey, listen, like once the lease is up on this particular warehouse, we got to find something smaller. So we were able to find something smaller, which helped, some of our overhead.
Mm.
And, we really just focused on what we were doing and what we already did well. So that would be my main driver. But whenever we get the opportunity sometime in the future, I think for the future of the brand, what I'd really like to see is, well, let me backtrack for a second. When I originally was working on the branding, I thought of this as something bigger, bigger than just body butters or oils or things that you put on the skin. I was thinking of, something more in like the spa lane or something in hospitality,
Hmm.
um, lifestyle even. So I think that this brand has the capability to be much more than it is now when in this current state, as a beauty brand. And I think it has a lot of potential to move into other spaces. So this is just the beginning, is what I say. I think that
Hmm.
this thing is going to be and can be a lot larger and more pronounced than it is. So more to come, I guess, and we'll see where we are in the future. We'll talk again in a couple of years and we'll revisit. But yeah, that's our goal and our wish is that this will become something a lot more grandiose.
Awesome. Um, I remember the question I was going to ask before. This industry, I mean, if a customer likes your product, I mean, it's very likely they're going to come back and purchase it again, right?
Yes.
You see a lot of uh, repurchases, people coming back, and do you engage people like you mentioned, email marketing, like your existing customer base? I think that's kind of a gold mine, right? You can send them the email,
Yeah.
remind them to repurchase, and things like this. Do you see a lot of people buying your products again and again?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we have a fairly high retention rate. I mean, our customers come back and buy again and again and again. So much, in fact, that we saw a trend where customers would come very regularly to purchase that same product, you know, once a month or once every other month. And so that became so prevalent with many customers that we decided it would make sense to put in a subscription program.
Hmm.
So you can subscribe to any of our products now, and people do. Um, so they don't have to worry about their product. They're always going to have it. They enjoy it. They love it. So it'll be there whenever they run out and they're ready for more. So that was something that I thought was really clever that the team, decided to do early on. And so what we're doing now is we realize that beauty clientele really like to put things together. They like sets. So
Hmm.
they like this product or this product and maybe that product and that product. And they want to buy them all at the same time. And
Hmm.
so we just recently launched our new website. So that's probably what you saw earlier. But what we decided to do is put a build a bundle or a custom bundle option on the website. So clients can come on there, they can build whatever special bundle it is that they like, and they get a nice little discount, that comes with the purchase. So it's a win-win for us. They get to customize something that works for them. And then additionally, they get to win because they get, some dollars off. They get to save a little bit. And I'd also like to mention on the new website that we will be, to again build trust and build camaraderie between ourselves and our clients. We're going to be introducing a loyalty program that's going to be dropping early next week. So we're really excited about that. Again, just rewarding those people that continue to come back again and again and again. So it'll work by a point system. Each dollar or $2, will equal points, and then therefore they can use those points to come back and either earn free products or put those point dollars, towards something else. So uh, our clients are very near and dear to us, and we want to make sure we're treating them like family. So that's why we have always wanted to make sure that we are listening to them. We often shoot out either quizzes or questionnaires, whether it's direct to email or whether it's over our socials, but we want to make sure that we have a constant communication with them, and we want to know and we want to hear from them as to what they like, what they don't like, what they're looking for. So it's paramount to make sure for a small business like ours that we are listening constantly.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Um, in every entrepreneur journey, there's always mistakes made, lessons learned, failures. Has there been any like big instances where, it was a big learning experience for you, a failure? What did you learn from it? And what can other entrepreneurs learn from your mistakes?
Yeah. So I'll say one that comes to mind immediately because I actually have one of the products here. So what we did, this is a few years back, we launched a product called the Body Balm. So it was a short kind of like stick that came in a tube that twisted up, and people were enjoying it. Something that people could take on the go with them, and people loved it. So as the packaging guy, as the creative guy, when I saw how well that was going, I thought, hey, we should improve the packaging.
Hmm.
So we went out and I looked all over the place, and I finally found a manufacturer that could do what I was asking for, which was basically to make that clear tube into an amber brown, which is one of our main colors. It's like a reddish brown.
Hmm.
So of course the company was able to do it, got the stuff in. It looks beautiful. We love it. And it starts selling quickly. At that time, we had a lot of wholesalers and they all really enjoyed that product. And so we started running out quick, quick, quick. All of a sudden, we ran out within a couple months of when we had made our first initial order. We went back to the manufacturer, said, hey, listen, we need some more. These are going crazy. And so they said, oh, no problem. But that minimum that you had is no longer our minimum. Now our minimum is here.
Hmm.
And so I wouldn't say it was a complete failure, but it was definitely a learning. We just couldn't afford that minimum at that time. And
Wow.
that just comes with the territory. Yeah. So, you know, we were ordering in the hundreds and they were saying that they needed their minimums are now in the thousands.
Hmm.
And so that made it difficult to restock that product. And, again, as a bootstrapped company, as a company that, we rely on not only our sales, but even sometimes some additional investments to come in to help keep that business moving. Um, that was a difficult situation. It was kind of realizing that we can no longer put out this is the product, by the way.
Hmm.
Um,
Hmm.
but it was basically saying that, hey, we had to remove it from the website. We currently don't make it at this time. And, we
But
couldn't afford.
if it was selling, the product was selling, like, I mean, it was a risk, but is the risk that the product will go bad, like if it's sitting for too long?
No, honestly, the one beautiful thing about that in most of our products is that the shelf life for them is phenomenal. So these things can go for, they can sit for a year or so.
Hmm.
Um, it was a money issue, a
Hmm.
funding issue, really
Okay.
able to support that kind of upfront cost because some factories that you work with, they need that money upfront.
Hmm.
And unfortunately for us, we weren't able to make that kind of spend at that time. And I wasn't willing to take a product that I felt was subpar and then upgrade it just to
Hmm.
downgrade it again.
Hmm.
So it was definitely learning. It didn't kill us, but it definitely was kind of like a little pain in my side, that I felt um, not having that not being able to see that product succeed. However,
Hmm.
there are plans to bring it back, bigger and better than ever. But now knowing what we know, um, you got to make sure that you find somebody that you can work with on a consistent basis, whether they're here or abroad. You have
Hmm.
to find somebody and companies that can really help support you in your journey, where you're at now and where you want to go.
No, yeah, that's a very interesting point. I think the bigger lesson there is, I think, more about cash flow. I think a lot of other
Mm.
entrepreneurs have mentioned, cash is king, and sometimes when you're scaling and there's not enough cash to support like the new stock or something, I think
Yeah.
that becomes
Mhm.
an impediment.
Yeah.
Um, Now I'm going to move on to our rapid fire segment. In this segment, I'm going to ask you a few quick questions, and you have to answer them maybe in a word or a sentence or so.
Okay,
The
cool.
first one is a book recommendation for entrepreneurs and why.
One of my favorite books of all time, Talking to Strangers by Malcolm Gladwell. Um, it's all about communication and how even if you're speaking the same language, you might not be speaking the same language. So I feel that every entrepreneur, communication is key when it comes to doing this type of work. So I feel that that book is a great recommendation for any entrepreneur.
Awesome. An innovative product or idea in the current e-commerce, retail, or tech landscape that you feel excited about?
I don't have a particular favorite, but any of these AI picture to video conversion apps or even word to video conversion apps, really exciting. Especially as a small company with a small budget, when you can find technology that's able to help you achieve something that you have up here,
Hmm,
but you just want to get it out there. But unfortunately, you might not have, again, like we said, the cash flow to do so. These type of apps kind of make things like that a little bit more accessible to the brands that want to create in that fashion.
for sure. Do you have any specific app in mind, or just like any?
I don't have one in particular. I know that there are some plugins for Canva, and there are some apps that you can use just by them. I think it's like Lexi Art or something like that. I don't have one in particular that I love, but I've used a few and been testing a few, and I think that the tech is really just amazing.
Yeah. Hopefully, it's going to continue. I mean, we're just in the beginning of AI, right? I think
Oh, of course.
things
Yeah,
are
of
going to
course.
become
Yeah.
a business or productivity tool or software that you would recommend, or a productivity tip.
Yeah. So for me, it's going to be Asana and Canva. I think that together, if you're one, you got to stay organized when it comes to this type of work. You might be wearing a lot of hats like I do. And so when you do that, you have to have a place where you can organize your thoughts and your tasks. So Asana, number one. And it also makes it real easy for our whole team to communicate. So whether it's Asana, Monday, any of these apps, highly recommend something like that. And then also Canva. I think that as a person who went to school and learned with Adobe Illustrator or Adobe Photoshop or Adobe Lightroom, the ability to take a few of those apps, make them a lot easier to use. Now, maybe not as precise. So I will
Hmm,
say there are drawbacks. However, being able to marry a couple of those apps, being able to easily drag and drop images, video, create animations, create videos, I think it's just, I mean, bar none, it's one of my favorite apps that I'm using currently. So
hmm.
it most used, I say, for whether it's for email marketing, whether it's Instagram or Reels, or I mean, it's a strong app. So those two would be my favorites.
Awesome. Another startup or business, it could be e-commerce, retail, technology, that you think is currently doing great things.
A tech app I would say would be Spill. It's a social media app. I'd say it's kind of a marriage between Instagram and Threads. So kind of in the middle of those two. Got a great community on there. Really enjoy using that. And then I'd say for retail, um, there's a oat milk brand called Ghost Town Oats. They're based here out of LA as well. Started by baristas. These are people who are really passionate about what they do, and I think that their branding is really top notch. So those two, I'd say, are currently uh, brands that I think everybody should check out.
Awesome. A peer entrepreneur or business person whom you look up to, or someone who inspires you.
This is also a two-part answer. I'd say one would be my dad. I mean, my pops has really been an inspiration to me forever. Just extremely hardworking, extremely intelligent, and creative. So this guy, I mean, he's a triple threat, and he's just all around a good person, I think, and that's what I would aspire to be. And then, in addition to him, Lewis Hamilton, I love Formula One. So
Hmm,
Lewis Hamilton, his story alone is just something really to aspire to be. That he knew from a very young age that he could be great, and he worked in strided towards that goal from birth. And so, he's a big inspiration in my life as well. Something of a hero, I'd say.
Awesome. Are you a car person? I mean, I see you're wearing the Lexus hat also.
Yeah, I like cars. I mean, I've always been a car person. I think just design wise, as a creative design wise, cars are just such a cool thing, like a masterpiece on wheels, basically, that can, take you from, it's not just functional, it's also, it can be something beautiful. So yeah, cars are kind of my thing too. And
My,
motorcycles. I got a Harley myself, so
oh wow. Okay.
I like to move on.
Nice. Final question. Best business advice that you have ever received or you would give to other entrepreneurs?
So I would say, um, I've heard this from a few people, but one of my good buddies, Patrick Bowden, um, said it to me maybe about a year or two ago, and he said, "You can do whatever you want." And I think for me, that was just at that point when he said it. Sometimes I feel that we kind of put restraints on ourselves. Oh, I can't do that. Oh, maybe I won't be good at that. And I think that at that moment when he said it to me, it really resonated. And, I said, what, you're right. Like I can do anything. And so I think that really sparked some inspiration in me to whether it was venture into art, which I've always been an artist, but I kind of stepped away for a couple of years. So whether it was inspire me to venture back into it or, any other ventures that I have, I'm now thinking about them as open possibilities, not restrictions anymore.
Awesome. Well, Ambrose, thank you so much again. Those were all the questions that I had. Thank you so much for sharing your story, for sharing
Appreciate you. Thanks for having
some
me
of
on.
your.
Shout out to the SKNMUSE. That's what we are. Boom. So
Okay.
check out our product. It's beautiful. You're gonna love it. There
And
we
your
are.
website, where can they
So
go
I
to check it
appreciate you
out?
too. You can
But
find us at SKNMUSE. That's SKN is in Nancy, MUSE.com, SKNMUSE.com. And that's all of our socials as well, at SKNMUSE.
awesome. Well, you guys are doing a great work, and I wish you all the success in your business going forward as well. And thank you so much again for joining me today at Trip Talks. Really, really appreciate your time.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.